Hey everyone, welcome back to Hobbies with Jose. I'm Jose Carvajal. Today we are taking a look at Flame Toys' Drift Furai model kit. That's right, it's another bonus episode. No, don't get used to it. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Good to have you here. So I wanted to put together a review for this kit because it's literally the last model kit I built before I started my channel. And I had such a great experience with him that I really wanted to showcase him for a bit before he goes in the display case for all eternity. But as we've done before, let's talk about the box for a bit. And what a nice box it is. As with previous Furai model kits, the artwork here is absolutely gorgeous. It does a great job of showing you what the kit can potentially look like with a little paint and detailing. And they covered their bases too by stating it in the fine print below. If there was any question that this was an officially licensed product, we'll wonder no further as it has its authentic logo on the top right and the traditional Transformers letters down the side. On the side, we get a nice close-up of the artwork, showing more details of Drift's face and helmet and ginormous shoulder pads. And the back shows some photos of the completed kit itself, fully painted and detailed. Now, although the pictures themselves are rather small, they do a decent job of showing you what the finished piece can look like. They also showcase some articulation that you can expect, which the box states the figure has 50 movable joints in total. Now, I haven't checked this myself, but we'll definitely confirm that a little later. And here we have Drift in all of his spiky glory. Before we get into the painting, let's talk about the design itself. It's just dripping with style from head to toe. Every little section you look at has been intricately designed, and the closer you look at him, the more details you discover. I remember the first time I saw Drift, his helmet design really reminded me of Wolverine, which is interesting considering Drift only uses swords. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but I like the homage. Wait, homage? Homage? Nah, homage. Here's an interesting tidbit though. Flame Toys has released model kits directly based on IDW's designs, and they stated that right on the boxes. For example, we have Optimus Prime IDW version and also Megatron IDW version. Drift's box doesn't have that, and although it's not directly based off IDW's designs, you could see that it's very heavily inspired by them. It's like they took the design as a base model and both added their own flair and cleaned it up a bit, which I really dig. And this guy looks just fantastic. You do have to be careful when putting him together though. All those spiky bits are pretty sharp and I could see them breaking with enough force too. The end product you get though is just superb. But obviously what you're seeing is a fully painted and detailed kit. Here's another interesting tidbit. This isn't the first time that Flame Toys has released this mold. Back in December of 2017, Flame Toys launched their Kuro Kara Kuri line with this Drift. That was a larger non-transforming action figure with light-up features. It originally retailed for $300, which now looks to be going for double in the aftermarket. So it was out of my price range then, and it certainly is now. I really couldn't resist the smaller and more affordable model kit version when it was released. And my goal with the paint job was to make it look more like the pricier Kuro Kara Kuri version. In order to achieve this, however, there's one thing I couldn't use, and that's the stickers. There's nothing wrong with them per se. They do look nice and shiny, but some are just a bit tiny and meant to wrap around sharp angles that there's just no way they're going to stay put. So I decided not to use them, although I'll definitely be saving them. You never know when those Autobot emblems will come in handy. He's got more color on him than your standard Transformer, and I've already painted a few as well. I jumped at the chance to get the first model kits Flame Toys offered, and they were really fun to put together too. But with their relatively simple paint schemes, they were really practiced for what was to come with Drift. Some sections needed some extra TLC too. The blue translucent pieces on his chest had silver paint applied on their backs right out of the box, which gave them an awesome headlight look. Unfortunately, the clear yellow parts on his shoulders got no such love, probably because they pegged into the shoulder piece rather than popped in from behind like the blue pieces. To fix this, I decided to cut off the pegs entirely and painted the back silver myself. Of course, this meant I couldn't peg the pieces onto the shoulders anymore, so I just glued them on there instead. I think how they turned out works and matches pretty well with the clear blue parts. One of the few sections that'll knock some points are on these little exhaust vents behind his legs. For the most part, they're a separate piece that gets added, except for the gold ends at the bottom. They're molded to each side of the leg and then joined together, but as you can see on my copy, they don't exactly line up with each other. Really wish they would have been part of a separate silver section instead of split with the legs. But that to me is a minor nitpick that won't really be seen much. Another critique I have is on his knees. They're double jointed, which is great for posing. However, the way they're designed causes some parts to rub against each other pretty hard, which messes up the paint in those areas. This obviously won't be an issue if you decide to paint the figure. You just have to be a little bit careful with this part if you do. As for accessories, Drift doesn't come with any traditional gun weapon, as he doesn't use one in the comics. Instead, he has his two swords that he keeps on his side scabbards, and his greatsword that's kept on his back. The two swords are fairly simple in design, but have enough little details to make them interesting pieces. The real gem, though, is the greatsword. The design is both industrial and medieval, which fits the character, and the clear yellow piece in the center really breathes life into the piece. He also has a good variety of hands to accommodate different poses. There are two closed fist hands, two open hands with fingers dramatically splayed out, and two sword-holding hands. The fingers can be removed to attach any of the swords, and they hang on pretty well. Now, I haven't forgotten about the promises made on its articulation, so let's get our counter ready and check for ourselves. The neck has ball joints at the top and the base, so that's 2 to start. The shoulder pads sit on ball joints, and they also have a hinge where the arm connects to the body. And there's also an opening flap here on the sides to accommodate the arms. So that's 3 more for each side. The actual arms can move 360, and they can move outwards a good amount thanks to those flaps. So that's 2 more for each side. There's a 360 rotation at the upper biceps, and the elbows are double jointed. So 3 more connections for each side. The base of the red sections on the arm sit on ball joints, so there's slight movement there, and the hands can rotate 360. 2 more for each side. There's a hinge just below the chest, and another ball joint at the waist. So 2 more. Each side of the crotch plate sits on a ball joint, as do the 2 on the back. So that's 4 more. The pieces at the scabbards are connected to are on hinges, and the scabbards themselves can rotate. So that's 2 more for each side. The legs are connected to the body via ball joint, and they can also rotate at the thighs. 2 more for each side. And as mentioned before, the knees are double jointed, so that's 2 more for each side there. The shin guards are on hinges. There's a ball joint inside of the leg, and the feet can also pivot forward and back. And also the front and back can rotate independently. So that's 5 more for each. Wow. And last but not least, the greatsword scabbard can rotate as well. And there you go. 51 movable parts in total. That's not bad at all. I'm always for truth in advertising. If you haven't guessed by now, I think this kit is overall fantastic. Great design, great build, and with a little bit of paint, a great finish too. Posing him can be a bit tricky with those side scabbards and giant shoulders getting in the way, but his multiple articulation points really do accommodate just about any pose you can come up with. Hope you enjoy these action shots, and let me know in the comments below what you think of them. Did you already build one yourself? Did you also poke your fingers in the final assembly? I'd love to hear from you. Until then, take care everyone.